These are the 7 accounts I'm using to aggressively build my wealth. It's the exact financial setup that took me from earning minimum wage at McDonald's to building a multi-6-figure net worth today. Now, you may have a couple of these accounts already, which is a good start, but there's a chance that you might be using them wrong. So today I'll share my 7 account setup, how the money flows between the accounts, and some of the mistakes that I've made along the way. I'll start with my personal accounts, and then I'll also share my business accounts towards the end, which I think is worth sticking around for. So let's start off with account number 1, which is the current account. This right here is my current account, which I hold with Monzo. Now you might be thinking, well, Mitch, that doesn't look like a wealth building account because you haven't even got £1,000 in it, in which you would be right, because this account isn't designed to be a wealth building account, and instead it's what I'm going to call as a crucial part of your financial starter kit, because how you use it will absolutely determine whether you're going to grow your wealth or not. Now, one of the mistakes that I used with this account was during my late teens and early 20s, where I would use it as like a catch-all account. My wages went in, my spending went out, it's where I saved an emergency fund, saved for all my holidays, and it all just sat in the same place. The problem with that though is that these types of accounts are designed to manage your money and not to hold on to it. Now, of course, the banks obviously don't want you to know this because they can get away with paying you a low rate of interest, and that's even with the FCA knocking on the door to ask why banks are failing to pass on higher interest rates to savers. But that is just the reality of the interest or lack of interest being paid into a current account. As you can see from the accounts on the screen, which pay little to no interest at all, unless you upgrade your account for a fee. Meanwhile, the general cost of goods and services is going up by 2.6% per year as at the latest inflation figures. So every year that this money sits there, it's losing money, and so I don't keep much money in it. I try and think about my current account more like a letterbox rather than a safe, where money just simply passes through it for things like bills, the food shop, and day-to-day low-ticket spending. And I personally have a rule that if the money isn't earmarked for the next 30 days and not allocated, then I will move that money outside of that account into one of my wealth-building accounts. Side note though, if you run a business like I do, you'll have 2 of these, a personal one and a business one, each feeding a different set of accounts, and I'll show you exactly how mine splits off later on in the video. That leads me on to account number 2, which is the cash ISA. Now, after late 2021 or so, this account became critical to your average saver because the Bank of England started to increase interest rates to an absolute peak of 5.25% in 2023. But at this point in time, I'd made the mistake that most of my savings was actually held in a high yield savings account. The issue with that is that now interest rates were going up very quickly, that I was potentially going to expose myself to having to pay tax on the interest that I was earning. Which, if you didn't know, depending on your tax band, we all have a personal allowance that we're allowed to earn so much in interest per year before HMRC will start sending you brown letters in the post. And as at the last few years, there's been a surge in the number of people exposed to paying this type of tax. Even now, it's been reported that in the 26-27 tax year, 144,000 individuals will have over a £5,000 tax liability on savings income. And so, facing into this problem myself, albeit admittedly at a much smaller scale, I must add, I started to move my money into my cash ISA, which I hold with Trading212. It currently earns 3.6% AER, and as this account comes under the ISA wrapper, I can contribute up to £20,000 per year into it as at this current tax year as part of my personal allowance. It is worthwhile me saying though that they have changed the contribution limit from the 2027 tax year, which is something just to be aware of. But regardless, for me, I won't be paying HMRC a penny in tax on any of my cash savings moving forwards. Now, in terms of the flow of money, well, my money moves from my current account into my cash ISA each month to hold on to my savings and emergency funds and the like. But having all of my money held up in a cash ISA is definitely not the most optimal way to build wealth, which now brings me on to my next account, which is the stocks and shares ISA. Okay, this is where things really started to change for me financially, but in a good sense. Back in 2017, I first started out investing inside a Vanguard stocks and shares ISA account with just £400. I made some investments, and then 3 years later, I then sold some investments, and then opened a stocks ISA with Trading212. It's been quite the journey, but I have invested consistently every single month without fail since I very began my investing journey, and today, my combined portfolio value sits at about £131,000. £41,000. Now the stocks ISA again is part of that ISA wrapper, so I won't owe HMRC a penny in tax on any of the capital gains or dividends that I've received inside of this account. Equally, I can also pay up to £20,000 per tax year into this account, and that total £20,000 allowance is split amongst the different ISA accounts that you can see on screen. Now within the stocks ISA, you can then choose your own investments from stocks, funds, commodities, or real estate investment trusts. And of course, different investments provide different rates of return over time, and putting this investment portfolio to one side for a moment, let's take a look at what some of the broader market data says instead. There was an equity and gilt study which was published by Barclays, who looked at historical rates of return of the market between 1899 and 2023. And they found that £100 in cash grew to £189 for a real rate of return of just 0.51%. Just goes to show how terrible holding cash can be as a long-term wealth building play. £100 in bonds though grew to £550 for a real rate of return of 1.38%, but £100 in stocks grew to £39,563 for a real rate of return of 4.94% per year. And that is 124 years of back-tested data, which tells me everything that I need to know about why investing my money for my future is so important to build my wealth. Now, if you want to get started with your own stocks ISA on Trading 212 like I have, well, they are currently offering all new customers one free fractional share valued up to £100 when you scan the QR code up here on screen. Or alternatively, download the app in the App Store and then enter the promo code Mitch inside the app. All you'll need to do is complete onboarding and deposit £1 into your account. But look, I don't just plan on building wealth for myself, but I also want to do a little bit for my son as well, which brings me on to the next account, which is the Junior Stocks and Shares ISA. This right here is my Abbey National Savings book. Now, if you are about my age or perhaps even a little bit older, you may recognize, or you may have even had one of these very books. Now, little 10-year-old Mitch loved this blue book back in the day, and I used to love going down to the bank with my mom, and I would pay him my pocket money or birthday money or whatever it may be. And I used to love getting the book back to see the new line that had been printed on, to see how much my balance had gone up by. Now, my mom was amazing. She taught me everything about good savings habits throughout my childhood years, and on my 21st birthday, she handed me this book with £2,624 in it. This money also came from money that she'd been topping up into this account every single month from the year in which I was born. Now, over that 21-year period, working back through this book, I've calculated that me and my mum saved about £125 a year for me. But here's the part that changed everything. If instead I had invested that money instead of held it in cash, and put it in something like an S&P 500 ETF instead, from the year I was born in 1995 through to 2016, it would have achieved a compounded annual growth rate of 9.54% per year, excluding fees and platform charges. That means instead of the £2,624, instead I would have had £8,889, 238% more just from investing instead of saving cash. And of course, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, but hopefully that illustration shows you exactly the reasons why I've opened a junior stocks ISA for my son and not a cash ISA. And just to be clear, that's not because I'm not grateful for what my mom had built and saved for me, because the reality is every financial milestone that I've hit in my adult life can be partly attributed to the savings skills and habits that my mom taught me throughout childhood. But investing and knowledge around investing is far more accessible now than it was in my mom's generation, when it just wasn't really a thing. So I'm doing things slightly differently for my son, and the month after he was born, I opened a Junior Stocks and Shares ISA account, and I'm investing £150 every quarter for him, and I'm just simply putting that into a Vanguard FTSE All World fund. And speaking of things that you can't turn back time on, here is now an account which I wish I had, but I didn't, so you can learn from the mistakes that I made. And that account is the Lifetime ISA. Okay, this big mistake cost me thousands of pounds because when I first started saving for a house deposit, I opened something called a Help to Buy ISA. This account was great on paper. It was essentially a government-backed savings account where you could save so much money into it and the government would give you a nice little percentage top-up in order to help you put a deposit down on your first home. Now, I saved the maximum into this account over the first few years in which I owned it before I then went on to purchase my first home with my now wife. But at the time of purchase, we ran into a little bit of a problem. This was because the property which we'd agreed to purchase was £275,000, but the property price cap on this account in order to get your government bonus was £250,000. And that's if you lived outside of London, which I of course do. I can't remember how much we'd lost in like bonus money, but it was probably in the region of like £3,000 or £4,000, which was a hell of a lot of money. Well, it's a hell of a lot of money today, but was even more money to like two early 20-year-olds. But here's what I didn't know at the time. There was a new initiative called the Lifetime ISA, which had just been launched in 2017 by George Osborne. The reason why this year is important is because it was the exact same year that I also started to save for my first home. All of the same rules applied. You could save up to £4,000 per year and the government would give you a 25% bonus. The big difference between the account which I had and this new Lifetime ISA though was that the property price cap, instead of being £250,000, was £450,000. So if I'd used the LISA instead of the Help to Buy ISA, I would have been thousands of pounds better off than I am right now. But luckily for anybody watching this video, you can't get stuck in the trap of having a Help to Buy ISA like I did because they no longer exist anymore. So that's my personal account structure, but now let me share with you my business account structure because this is where I'm personally planning to build something big. Okay, so account number 4 is probably the biggest one for me as a business owner, and it's an account that I only realized I could use in 2025. Now, just for some context, I run a property investment company, and I had absolutely no idea that I could invest spare business cash rather than leaving it sat in my business account earning practically nothing in interest. So I decided to sit down with my accountant and restructure things so I could take my profits from my YouTube business and then move them into a holding company and use that company to invest the profits, completely separate from my personal accounts. I do try and invest as aggressively as I possibly can, as this is another part of my early retirement strategy. I won't attempt to explain all of the tax and legal implications. I will definitely leave that down to the professionals. But if you are interested, then I would certainly recommend that you contact either your accountant or a tax advisor. The account that I use for this though is Lightyear's business account. Here it is, and you can see that if I click on the search icon, it's got many of the same investments that you can get in your stocks ISA, with all of these ETFs and individual stocks. I also earn interest on money market funds, which are managed by BlackRock. These are AAA credit rated funds, which is basically just a low risk way for me to earn a bit of interest on my cash. It is also worthwhile me saying that the interest is obviously variable. As this is an investment, it carries investment risk and isn't covered by the FSCS. One thing that is worth knowing though is that if you plan to invest in stocks or ETFs through your business investment account, you will need something called an LEI, which is a legal entity identifier. You will need one of these to get started, but Lightyear handled all of this for me. But it is also worthwhile me saying that if you are only planning to invest in money market funds, then you don't need one. Now, this is obviously an investment account, so it's obviously not for everybody, but for me personally, it works very well in order for me to earn some interest on my spare business cash and increase the value of my investment company. Now, if you did want to get started with one, Lightyear are currently offering all new and existing customers up to £300 in shares credited to your business account when you scan the QR code up here on screen. Alternatively, download the app in the App Store and enter promo code MitchBiz and then register for a business account. All you'll need to do is complete the verification process within 45 days and deposit at least £1,000 to your business account. Lightyear have informed me though that this promotion only works if you have an LEI in place, but I'll leave all the terms and conditions down in the description below for you to check out at your leisure. But of course, the same rules apply here as always, that when you're investing, your capital is at risk and the value of your investments can go down as well as up. Now, if you're employed, you've probably got some kind of workplace pension, but if you are self-employed or a director of a limited company like me, then chances are you're using a SIP instead, which works slightly differently. Now, here's how the money flows. I take money from my YouTube company and I pay that into my SIP, which I hold with Vanguard, as an employer contribution. Now, the reason why this is good is because it's an allowable business expense, and therefore it reduces what the business owes to HMRC in corporation tax. It's definitely worth speaking to your accountant here, but in my personal opinion, it's definitely one of the most tax efficient ways for me personally to build wealth and to extract funds from the business. The annual allowance for this is currently £60,000 per year, which would certainly be a great goal to have, but I'm definitely not contributing that much just yet. And in actual fact, during this tax year, as of right now, I've only contributed about £5,000. The only downside here is that unlike every other account which we have on this list, I can't access this money until I'm age 57 as at the current rules. And it's possible that the government move the goalposts again and make that pension age even higher by the time that I get there. In some ways it's a good thing because it allows that money to compound in the background without me ever touching it. But I do also have that lingering thought in my head that, well, what if I want to retire earlier than the age that the government tells me I can? And that's why all of the other investment accounts which I have are just as important as this one, because it gives me choice and control. Arguably two of the most important things when it comes to our own personal finances. Now, if you want to see how I set up my own stocks and cash ISA over on Trading 212, then I've made a full tutorial to show you how to navigate the app. And you can watch that by clicking on this video next. And with that being said, I'll see you over in the next one.